Hello YouTube and Twitter, how are you? I hope you're doing very well. My name is Mariah. If you haven't seen any of my videos, welcome. If you have, then a very warm welcome back. Today, I'm gonna talk about something that's definitely is narcissism, and I will tie it back because I just love sharing about that stuff, obviously. But I want to talk today more about dreams because I think truly that dreams are this portal, this access that we get that we might just take for granted. We might just overlook it, but there's a lot of really beautiful and prevalent and applicable information that we receive in the nighttime. And I'll get to this by the end, but there's a reason why we receive messages in dreams and why dreams are so important to humanity as a species. Now, I know there's gonna be people that are like, oh my God, I don't dream. I don't remember my dreams. And I honestly don't believe that nobody, if you tell me that you don't dream, I think you just probably don't remember it. And, and that's fine. And a lot of the times you might be dreaming of something really traumatic or recounting traumatic memories and your brain just goes, no, delete. But if you can set the intention to remember your dreams and then start to notice them and start to write them down in a dream journal, or even, you know what I do? I don't have I don't want to say the inclination to lean over and write into a notebook, because I do sometimes, but I more often than I would like, more often than not, I have my phone with me when I am remembering dreams. And so I just write it in my notes app. I just write the date and then the dream. And I prefer that, honestly, because I can just go into it's not I like to write physically, but it's nice to have it in my notes app because I can just type in a word of, oh, I remember this was in my dream. Let me search it up, and then I can find out when it was from. So if that's not something you do yet, I would really recommend at least popping it in your phone and having, even just keywords, because they can really come up. And what really inspired me to make this video and talk about dreams is that last weekend we had a big clog in it was way down the line in the drains. I'm in an apartment building, and so somebody else's unit had a huge blockage, and it was backed up into our sink, and so we couldn't really use it, which was annoying, but it's taken care of now. And I don't know, I might have mentioned it to my brother that this was what I was dealing with, and just that, I've got a backed up kitchen sink, and I don't want to be at home, let's hang out. And when was this? So that happened over the weekend. And then he texted me on Wednesday. He was like, are you okay? And if you know my brother, he's not the type to really do that. We text, we talk and call each other, and I see him at least once a week. But he doesn't really say are you okay? It would be more like, hey, what's up? And I was fine, and I texted back. I was like, yeah, dude, what? What happened? And he said, I had a horrible dream where he was having a dream that Mariah, was getting chased and attacked by a snake. And in that dream, he was freaking out, screaming, and he woke up really abruptly and was like, oh my God, I need to talk to my sister. I hope she's okay. And so then he texted me, and he told me that. And I texted him back. I was like, oh, well, my kitchen sink literally just got snaked. Yeah, the plumber had to come and bring a huge snake and snake it. And I just thought that was funny because I believe that we get these messages that in our dreams and in our subconscious storytelling that we're doing on our own, we are getting these messages that pertain to a bigger consciousness, one that doesn't only affect just us. And it can be in between family dynamics. I have dreams of my family a lot, and then I'll text them something and they'll be like, oh, you know what, that's funny, like this actually did come up. And it's, to me, what I believe is that happens because there is this larger consciousness that we are tapping into, and she sends us messages, and that is my whole Gnostic point, but I don't want to get there just yet because I always go there, but I will. Don't worry, I will. But something else that I wanted to mention, like I've just kind of got these like little tidbits of dreams, and or, you know, facts about dreams, or, you know, whatever, what have you. I was listening to a Mysterious Universe podcast. Shout out Mysterious Universe, they're great. And I have the plus extension, so I get like extra episodes. So this might be in one of the extra episodes. I'm not 100% sure. It was a while ago. And they were describing the story from a book or something like that, about this tribe that I believe was in Australia. Again, this was like a couple years ago probably that I listened to this episode. I haven't listened to it since, but it's just kind of one of those things that like stuck with me. And they were describing this tribe and the practices that they have, and they're very remote, like in a forest somewhere. It's I believe it's somewhere, if it's not Australia, it's like somewhere in Asia around that area. And if you see smoke go by, I have incense burning. And in this book, I believe the book was written by this guy who went to talk to the tribe for research, or I don't know, anthropology or something like that. And so the book is from his perspective, and he said that he didn't know how to notify them the day that he was coming to be with them, because they didn't have it, like they didn't have any way to contact them. They just, you know, and he just kind of showed up in you know, where they are in the forest and where they live, and somebody was there to greet him. And it was like they just knew that he was going to be there on that day. And then they, you know, they described more of their practices, and the practice that really stuck with me and why I think about them all the time is that every morning they would get together and sit in a circle or you know, whatever, and maybe while they were having breakfast or something like that, they would talk about their dreams. And they would, like, their belief was that each person had a dream that contributed to an overall story, and they would share them together, and they would say, oh, you know, this happened in my dream, oh my, that's crazy, this happened in my dream. And they could weave them together into an overall story. And I think that's how they knew that the guy was going to be there. Like, somebody had a dream about him coming at a certain time, and he would be at a certain place, or they just kind of knew, you know, when you're connected to nature in that way, and you don't have the EMF and, you know, all these other waves in the air kind of distracting you, then you can really connect to this. It's like a grid of intelligence. And I have a blog post about this from a long time ago where I called it like the grid that we live in, or something like that. And I really do, I've kind of always had this visual that we are in this like grid or web of light, and that light is information, that light is intelligence, that's the light of wisdom. And we have access to it all the time. And I believe that when we are in dream time, our access to that is like, we're just so immersed in that wisdom, in that light, in that other, I don't want to say it's another dimension, because I don't really think it's another dimension. I just think it's more fullness, more of us. Like, we get to access more of ourselves without our rational mind getting in the way, and we recount that via the visuals that we remember when we wake up, and the feelings. And sometimes you can smell stuff and feel stuff, you know. They're all things that I believe, you know, it might not be, I mean, I don't know if it's 100% real because it's a dream, and you wake up and your life, you know, that thing didn't happen. You know, I've had so many dreams where I remember recently I had a dream that I was like, I murdered somebody or something, and I was running away, and like the cops were gonna get me and I was like escaping out a window or something, and then I woke up and I remember being like, oh, like thank God that was not actually true, and I don't have to deal with that stress in my life because I didn't actually murder somebody. But you know, there's definitely theories where it's like, well, maybe there is some sort of alternate dimension where like I did and I was actually running from the police. Like, I don't know. But what I was saying about the grid and the intelligence that we have access to, you know, to tie this back into the Gnostic message, and I think that this is what so I've got my counter here, just getting comfortable. What the Gnostics, ancient Gnostics of today, oh God, look, a little baby hair is going on today. The Gnostics of today knew and emphasized and worked within, and I think that we still should and can work within, is that we are already in the dreaming mind of the goddess, the creator, who made us. Just knocked me off my feet there. I'm like standing on one foot. But to have these little anecdotes of family members, like in my own life, of family members having a dream and then it actually showing up in my life, you know, okay, my brother thought I was getting attacked by a snake, but really I just had a plumber with a snake go down my drain. And you know, that's the kind of messages that you can get from dreams. Is it might be like, oh my God, like my sister, like something's wrong with her. No, like nothing's wrong, but you know, there is a snake in my apartment. It's just not that kind of snake. But when we share those things, we can put them together. And the Gnostic story, the Gnostic creation story, is that Sophia, the Aeon, who made humanity with her male counterpart, is here as a result of her daydreaming for a solution for her humanity to thrive. Now, if you haven't heard me recount this story again and again and again, I will do it again because I love it. But if you have, then you can maybe like skip this part or not. I'll try to be quick about it. But in the galactic core of the Milky Way, also called by the Gnostics the Pleroma, the fullness, there are creator beings that are a scale that's like way even bigger than our minds can comprehend. They exist in this place and they create like nucleic packages of goo that are sent out from that core into the galaxy to gestate and create life and become different sorts of lives. As I know it's lives, but anyways. And so for our purposes, it's best to not get like so caught up in what if and what they created and where they sent other stuff, because as per Valentinian Gnosticism, there are either 12 or 13 aeons. I think it's 12 because they're always in male-female pairs, so they're pairs. And for our purposes, we have the beautiful Aeon Sophia, and her male counterpart, who Mr. John Lamb Lash calls Thelete, which is intention. I've also seen him be called Christos. If you really love your Christian religion, you can keep that in there if you really want. But the important part of this story is that they made the human genome. They made the human genome together. And this was like, you know, they're a really great creation that they made because they wanted something. This was like, well, first of all, it was made in ecstasy, and that's how they create, is in that level of emotion, of happiness, of joy, of creating together. And their purpose for humanity was to kind of be this like beautiful designer species that could really enjoy the other creations that have already been made by them, and enjoy connection, enjoy beauty, enjoy each other, enjoy bodies, enjoy, like, just enjoy everything. And, you know, there had been several attempts to get us to thrive, but we kept, you know, dying or just capitulating civilizations and not working out. And so more recently, which is not recent, the Aeon Sophia was daydreaming, and this is why it's important to know that she was daydreaming. Was daydreaming as in you and I daydream all the time. We just think, it's our imagination. And she was daydreaming for a solution for humanity to thrive. But because she is a being of mega scale and is just endowed with such creativity that we kind of don't really understand that, this daydream, this imagination for humanity to thrive was active. It was a real thing. It's the same thing as manifestation, but just supercharged. And she did this, she did this without her male counterpart. And, you know, in the galactic core, in these aeons, they don't have like rules as far as it has to be done this way, it can't be done another way. It's guidelines of, yes, we make creations in male female pairs because that gives balance, and it takes two to tango, and this is just how things are created. You have the male and the female. But because she did this without her male counterpart, this daydream compelled her daydreaming body. This is like an offshoot of her. You can think of it as like a mitosis, and you can read about this in the Gnostic texts where they say like Sophia and her daughter. It's a mitosis is a creation of a daughter cell, an exact clone. And this is the daydream that happened. The daydreaming part of her broke through the pleroma, broke through that membrane, and fell into the Milky Way galaxy without her male counterpart. Oopsie. And this also created the deficiency of the male. This is also in the Gnostic texts. It created the demiurge, another big oopsie. Not intended, obviously, and because he was not intended, he just is so deficient in everything that you would want to come from somebody who also created you. Like, to, you know, she created us, and she created the demiurge by complete accident outside of the pleroma, and she tried to get rid of him. She saw him, and in the text they describe him as like an abortion, like a fetus looking thing that was not intended and not wanted and not created in the right environment, only had the mother. The father was not involved. And so she sees this and she goes, you know what, you can be alive and you can be over here, but you will stay over here and do your thing and don't bother me because I'm busy. I'm literally falling through space. Don't know what else to do. And I've got humanity attached to me in this dream state that she's still technically in. And yeah, so, you know, the demiurge does try to distract her. He creates his archons because he does have a semblance of creativity, because he comes from the same mother that we do. Comes from the Aeon Sophia. She is the sacred mother of our, you know, the being that's working so hard against humanity. And she's the mother of us too. Like, it's like, you know, that's like our distant cousin that is really jealous of humanity and all the things that we have, because we were made by loving parents in a sacred space. Just our dad's not here. But he doesn't even have a dad in the first place. And so, you know, to kind of, I'm just kind of going to crunch up the middle part because she falls through space. And if you're interested in that full story, either check out Mr. John Lim Lash's work, fallengoddessscenario.org, I believe is a beautiful rendition of it. His book, Not in His Image, or you can check out one of my other videos where I talk about Gnosticism, maybe some of the longer ones where I describe the journey. But anyway, so she's falling through space. The Demiurge, who, if you haven't realized at this point, is Yahweh, is Jehovah, is the Old Testament God, and, you know, still distracting humanity today. And he's, you know, tries to knock her off her path several times, and ends up capturing her in his solar system, which is our solar system. So the Demiurge makes 7 archons, aka the 7 other dead planets around us that they just don't have life, but he captures the one planet that does have life in the middle, Earth, because that is now Sophia's body. On her journey, she had Ouroboros herself into the setting for humanity to thrive, into our planet Earth. Now, I've said 2 things that are very important. One, she is our planet. Here, now, I'm breathing her in. She is arising through me and outside of me at the same time. Same for you. And it's in a daydream. It's a dream. We are in the dreaming mind of the goddess who created us. And if that is like totally new information to you, fine. You might not like it at first, but I invite you just to play with that idea. Just play with it a little bit and start to think, you know, if I'm in the dreaming mind of our planet, how can she confirm that to me? How can she show me that that's real? Can I pay attention to my dreams and allow her to show up in them? Can I start to create synchronicities that are like, I am in a dream, and I am in a lucid dream, it's just a lot slower. You know, if you've had a lucid dream yourself, you know that you start to, you wake up within the dream. You wake up and your consciousness wakes up and you start to look around and you start to be like, oh my God, okay, I can influence what's going on. And it happens immediately. When you start to influence immediately, you start to, I've had several experiences where I check if I'm in a lucid dream by looking at a clock. And the clock is all fucked up. Or I open up a book and I'm like trying to read the words, but the words are all jumbled up and I'm like, okay, I'm in a dream. And so that is a real experience that we have. We have those lucid dream experiences. I'm not the only one. It happens to lots of people. And now if you think about reality, yes, it's not like you can look at a clock and it will be a time that makes sense to you, but you can influence what's going on around you. It just takes longer for you to receive it because we are in a bigger mind. There is a bigger scale. We're dealing with a larger scale of time here because the mind that we're inside is so freaking huge that we just have, you know, it's kind of mind-boggling, for lack of a better term. And once we can engage that idea that the dreams are actually a way for us to directly access the mind of our planet, the dreaming mind of our planet is sending us messages in our dreams and we can receive them instantly, you know, and we can receive them in waking life too. It's just like I said, things come a little slower because we are like this big and Sophia is so big that it's just something that happens to her instantly is like slow motion for us because we are just so much smaller. And once we can engage with that and we can think, okay, you know, maybe that is the reason why reality is so malleable. And I think this is the biggest thing for me and why I really love this idea and do use it as my truth. Obviously you don't use it every day because it's one of those things that's like, you want to use it every day, but then life happens. But once you can, and once you can just kind of keep shifting into, okay, this is the dream of the goddess that I'm so connected to, who really values me so much that she's here as my planet, as my air, as literally everything around me, then how can I engage with her to create with her? Because that is co-creation. It is tapping into the grid that's around us, that light of intelligence, but it's identifying who that light is. It's identifying who is the big dreamer, because reality is malleable. It is. This is like law of attraction 101, is you start thinking about a certain thing and you start to see it more. And like, okay, yes, you can say, oh, you're just noticing it, but I don't think that's true. I think there's, yes, a noticing. However, I do think that there is an influencing as well. And that influencing is us influencing the dream of our planet, who is dreaming us alive in every single moment. So when we connect to her, engage with her, get to know her, understand her, feel her, acknowledge her, remember the connection that we have always had with a mother goddess, then it's like she starts to kind of be like, okay, you know, let's tango, let's dance. What do you want? What do you want to experience in this life? Do you want more beauty? Do you want more passion? Do you want to be seen? Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be, you know, all of these different things she can bring to us. She can make them really happen. It's just a matter of, you know, and you can even get those things without even acknowledging her and knowing where it's coming from. But when you know the fullness of who is reciprocating back to you, who is giving back to you, who is that intelligence, when you're talking to the universe, who are you talking to? Like, universe is just such a, like, it's too much of a blanket term for me. I want to know who is giving it back to me. If I am saying that something is going to happen, or I manifest something, or I speak it into existence, who is on the other end bringing it to me in my reality? You know, if you want to keep it generic and not acknowledge her, that's fine, whatever. But I like to acknowledge where it comes from, and I like to know that there's a goddess dreaming me alive, and that I can interact with her, and she will send me beautiful messages in my dream that make sense in her overall dream, in her larger dream. And so I think that the more that we can share our dreams with each other, and like literally the dreams that we have when we go to sleep, and even like our actual dreams of what we want for our life, and I think that is a beautiful thing as well, is that we call our aspirations, our dreams, our dream life come true, you know. And I think that makes it feel like more of a fantasy, which it's not. It's really what we can have, but it's what we let ourselves have. And when we can kind of clue in and really hone in that we have this malleability that we can play with, my screen's getting really smoky. If we have this malleability that we can play with, because we know that we are in the dreaming mind of the goddess, and she wants to engage with us, she wants us to play with her, and all we have to do is just kind of understand who we are, and she will reach out back. She does. And that's why I make these videos, is so that I can reach people who don't know who she is, who have never heard of her, and that I can be like, oh, you know, like I just do a little sprinkling of information of there is a goddess of your life who is planet, who is here as Gaia, but she has a whole backstory, and she's here dreaming you alive, and she loves you very much, and she wants you to realize who she is, where she is, and how you can engage with her. Then you wake up within the dream, you wake up within the lucid dream of life, and you start to play with it more. You start to have more agency, and it's kind of so much agency that is like scary, where you really do have to make decisions that you want to embody in your life. Like, that is up to you. That's your decision to make, is that you can understand who the power is and where your power is coming from, that source of your power, and you can choose to link up with her and make something beautiful, make a beautiful experience for the life that she is dreaming. Because there are some crazy coincidences where, you know, Elon's going to tell you that it's just a, what's the word? hologram reality. But that hologram, that grid of light, is made of the intelligence of the goddess, is her dreaming mind that we have access to, that we can engage with, that we are supposed to engage with. It's not just some random computer. It's like, no, it's the intelligence of a being that is so beyond our scale. And I think that people from Christian backgrounds like can't really wrap their heads around this, because they've just been brought up with, oh yeah, this is who made you, don't question it, done. Right? Like, that's so boring. But that God that they worship and talk to, maybe, is the son of the higher power anyway. So why wouldn't you go right to her and really make some stuff happen? Because, and just to bring this back to that tribe that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is they were so connected to that grid, that nature's grid, Gaia's grid, who is Gaia, is this divinity, is Sophia, that they already knew stuff was going to happen before it happened. They shared their dreams and would piece together a story, because she is always giving us information. She is that information. So when we just check in with her and back into our intuition, we are just plugging into her dream and allowing ourselves to be active dream members. So my homework to you is to wake up within the lucid dream of Gaia Sophia. And what does that look like? That looks like getting to know her, getting to know your dreams, maybe asking your friends and family what dreams they have had recently, and maybe noting those down, and just allowing yourself to engage in that. Because when we connect deeply into nature, especially, we're connecting right into Gaia Sophia. We're allowing those dreams to come through. We're just kind of getting out of the way, because a lot of the times we think that we know better, but we don't. And Gaia knows what we want. She knows it, because she is it. So when we can just connect back into her and her infinite wisdom, it just happens without you even having to do anything. It's just, that's synchronicity, that is beauty, and that is allowing the lucid dream of reality to really become lucid for you. It's just not as instant as our own lucid dreams that we have at night, because we are dream members of Gaia Sophia's dream. When you have a lucid dream, there are other figures in your dream, and you can influence them, and you can do whatever you want with them. And we are that in her dream, except we have a little more agency. We can choose to let her work through us and allow the overall dream that she is having and intending for humanity to happen, or we can, go on our own side quests and do whatever. But the beautiful thing is that we have those options. And personally, I like to do my best to contribute to her dream and the dream of which is the dream of our planet, right? Like, that is Earth. That's paganism, basically, is connecting with their planet, but knowing on such a bigger level from this Gnostic story as well, and just kind of pairing it all together. The sacred dreaming of our planet is what keeps us alive. And the more we connect to her, the more magical and more beautiful our life becomes. And I hope that you start that journey for yourself, because I think it's gorgeous. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I will talk to you guys later.